Aloha beautiful tribe, welcome to my channel Lua's Forest. I am Lua and today we are going to talk about Imbolc. It is celebrated on the 1st and the 2nd of February. It is one of the festivals that it doesn't coincide with any solstice or equinox, but it was one of the most important ones. Often were more important for the Celts in particular than the other festivals. Imbolc and Beltane and Samhain and what's the other one? Lammas. They are super important and they do not coincide with any of the equinoxes or solstices, but they are super important. They are like lines we cross to the other world. It's like doors we are crossing and going to really to a different energy. They are the start of something really powerful and deep. And this is the time of the returning sun. This is the definite moment when we see that the light is actually returning. We have celebrated the rebirth of the sun at Yule, but this was actually the worst part of the winter. Imagine in the past, this was the worst part of winter. You're running out of food. You have this stress that, okay, it's just like the last push and spring will come again. Spring has to come, right? And this is it. And then you see probably then in the snow, the first snowdrops flourishing in the middle of the winter, and you go like, yes, wow, life is definitely coming back. Now I can see it. Now it is in front of my eyes. It's not just a thought, a wish, like it was at Yule. It's materialized. The promise is here. And it is also the moment when the lambs are born. So the first baby animals, the first life is actually here. And all of this means food, life. And all of these are symbols of Brigid. Brigid is the goddess that we honor at this time of the year if you follow a Celtic path. Most of pagans that I know celebrate Brigid. And here in the Wheel of Avalon, we call this face of her, this part of her, Brigid, because what we focus on is the young maiden. The maiden can have, for me, the maiden has different ages. So one is like the child maiden, the second one is the adolescent, and then you have the wild maiden, the goddess that's about to be the lover, but it's not. Well, there are maidens who aren't virgins, like maiden goddesses who aren't exactly virgins, but that is a different thing. We could make a video about that, about that whole concept that in the past someone who was a maiden was actually considered a woman who was independent, who had no husband, no child, no children, and she was basically free, but free to do whatever she wanted as well. And one of those things could be having sex. But yeah, that's a different thing. We celebrate at this time of the year the maiden as a child, and that part of Brigid we call Brigid. There are wheels of Brigid in which they changed the name. Maybe I could call a friend who's a priestess of Brigid and speak about this, but they speak about her with a slightly different version of her name at each point of the year to bring those aspects in. So here in the Wheel of Avalon we work with Brigid as Brigid is the same goddess. She is Brigid. We call her Brigid and we celebrate her just at this time of the year and not during the rest of the year. But Brigid was actually a really big, vast goddess that was goddess of everything. So not only of fire, but also of wells and springs and healing waters and animals. She has so many different animals that we would have to make a video just about Brigid to talk about all her aspects and things that she is goddess of. But yes, Imbolc is that moment of the year when we are fed up of being at home, of being cold, of, in the past, not having enough to eat. And we yearn for that purification of all the burdens, that the things that we've been working on, or the things that really no longer serve us. We've gone through this time of Yule that was really deep. And from Samhain, actually from the equinox, the autumn equinox, we have been going down to the earth and going into this lethargy that has taken us so deep to work on our stuff and really see the deepest, more darkest places of ourselves. And we've been shedding, and we've been working really hard on those internal aspects of ourselves that we now so want to be out. We want to be done with that. So Imbolc is like this portal of light waiting for us, and that energy of anticipation right now before Imbolc, that you see the first snowdrops, you perceive the days are longer just a bit, and it's there, and you go like, oh, it's here, it's the promise of spring, it's coming. And then once Imbolc is here, it's like, you take away all that burden. You're born anew. You are actually born into the new year. The wheel starts turning, and that is how we feel. It's the new start. So this time of the year naturally make us reconnect with our childhood, the beginning of our wheel of life. And we might see ourselves coming back to thoughts that we have when we were little, or wanting to do things that we used to do, things that we liked, and that is perfectly fine. One of the things that we could do at Imbolc is actually allow ourselves to do those things and to play. It is the festival of new beginnings, when we start actually doing, not thinking, not wishing, not dreaming. We start doing the things that we really want to do, the things that we've been planning during the dark months. The seeds from the trees fell, the fruits, everything fell, went into the ground. We went into the ground, into the caves, and we were there incubating all these things. And now it is a moment of the first stirring of that life, and you feel like you can start doing these things and bringing your projects to life for real. Like the maiden goddess, we are reborn. This time of the year is perfect to heal your inner child. We are tired of being inside. We are like that child that really wants to go out and play in the sun and play in the forest. Think of a wild child of the forest. That's who we are, and we want to open the windows and let the new wind in. We've been in our houses in the dark at night most of the times, or working or studying. We've been there with our windows closed and our lights. And we want to open those windows, and that is actually a thing that was done. Open the door to welcome Brigid into the house. And this is something that you can do for Imbolc, and that is really beautiful. You can make a bed for Brigid, and the bed was put in front of the fire, in front of the fireplace of the house. And people would open the door and say, "Come in, Brigid, welcome Brigid," or a prayer like that. And they'll welcome Brigid in the night of Imbolc. They would also, they could or could not. Some people did, some people didn't. But some people used dolls for this. And they would put the doll in the cradle, in the little bed, and welcome Brigid. And they said that if in the morning there were like marks in the ashes, that meant that Brigid had been there in your house. And also it could mean that there was going to be a great harvest in the summer. So yeah, it was a really nice costume. Here I have my own Brigid doll that I made, and this is something that you can do at Imbolc as well. So this is a really great activity. It can remind you of your childhood. And it's really therapeutic if you do it in a ritual. And as you create the doll, you think of what you liked when you were little, what you used to love, the enthusiasm. And then this turns into a really powerful tool of healing. And each time that you feel during the year that you're sad or you're in need of comfort, of that mother that might be with you or not, you can give that love to yourself using the doll. So the doll represents then your inner child, and you as an adult, you can nurture yourself, which is really cool, powerful magic. Most of the dolls that my sisters and brothers made were made with white cloth, but the cloth can be any color, it doesn't have to be a skin color, and mine wasn't. This was a really cheap cloth that I bought at Tiger, so that's maybe an idea for you. And these are just like normal plastic beads. This is a pendant from the goddess conference of that year, so I kept adding things to her during the year, and that for me symbolizes that your Brigid doll is growing with you through that year. She represents your growth during that year, and you can make a doll every Imbolc and work with her during the year, and it is really powerful magic and really cool as well. Yeah, and some of my sisters and myself, I've been carrying my doll around for different type of works. We've taken her to places, so it's like you're taking out your inner child to do fun stuff, to see new things. You are working with yourself, with your hopes and your joy and your healing. And she was here in this hat because that's her bed. You don't need to have expensive things to create her bed. So for now, that's her bed. I do use this hat when I go out. But yeah, that can be her bed. And I will use that at Imbolc as Brigid's bed, and will call in Brigid to my life. Another thing that you could do is this. This is Bride's eye or Brigid's eye. This is not the cross of Brigid. They are different things. This is the eye, and it's made of willow because willow is the tree associated with Brigid. And in the Wheel of Avalon we have the willow at this time of the year. I know that other wheels of the year work with the willow in a different month. The reason I think we have it now, it's because at this time the willows are shedding, like purifying themselves as well, some of their branches, and the branches just fall on the ground and grow roots just like that. It's like, imagine that you could like drop an arm and your arm would grow legs and grow a different person, another you. That's amazing, right? So it's rebirth. It's really a tree of rebirth, and it's also a tree of healing. And Brigid is this goddess that just wants to relieve our pain. She cannot stand people suffering. She wants to nourish us, nourish the children and the children inside of us. And I'm saying this because the tree willow of the family Salix has been used for healing for a really long time, and especially for taking away the pain. And it's still in our lives because aspirin is made with acetyl salicylic acid. It is obtained from willows, from the Salix family of trees. And this eye of Brigid is willow because it's a tree, and the goal of this, the magical goal of this, is to weave your dreams into the eye. And this can also be part of your Imbolc ritual. Grab 2 willow twigs from the ground, or like if you, where you live there are willows, you can do this. And then you make a cross with the wall in the center, and then you go over and under, over and under, over and under, all around until done. And you have to focus doing this and weave in the projects that you want to birth this year, the things that you really want to manifest this year. So this is really cool. You can also do the cross of Brigid, which is different. This is the cross of Brigid, and it's normally made with straw or with rushes. The reason being, rushes were used at birth chambers. So when the babies come, with a new life comes. And if you want to know how to make them, you can look that up online because it would take a while to explain. They are said to bring protection to the home. Some people have them hanging on their windows or over the door of the houses, because Brigid is the protector of the home, of our house, of the domestic animals, of the family, of the children. The cross also symbolizes the sun, of course, it's a sun symbol. It also symbolizes the 4 directions and the new beginning. meanings. So you can write on each one of the arms of the cross something that you really want to manifest, and yeah, it will flourish like the spring. So this is the time of the birth of the goddess, and it's a perfect time to honor your inner child and also the children in your life. That age, children in general, it's a time to honor childhood, and this should be really important because we should honor children as the light of the world. They bring the new light to the world, and these days I feel like childhood is not really valued. But sometimes if you listen to children, if you really do, you can hear such pearls of wisdom that just come through them because they are open to receiving all of the goodness of the universe, all the inspiration, that you just go like, oh wow, this is just a child and they know so much. They just see things and they are connected. They don't need to do all the rituals and the meditations that we adults need to do. When we were children, we were just connected to everything, and the society we live in doesn't support us when we are little, but they don't support us to stay like that, to stay wild, one child, during all our lives. So I think we should really honor childhood and also the child that we have inside, who can still bring that light into our lives for us, all that intuition that we used to have and that we can have again. We just need to work and pay attention and nourish our inner child. One of the animals associated with Brigid is the snake, the serpent. And why is that? Well, it is because the serpent is the helper of the seer. We see in many cultures that the snake is related to vision, to sight, to oracling. And Brigid brings that insight into the future. And if we think about what I was saying about the children, they bring the new vision for the world. They are the new world that is coming. So we can work with this aspect of Brigid and we can ask her to bring us vision. We can work with the snake, the symbolism of the snake, or meditate about it and ask to receive visions of the future. During Yule, we work more with dreams and oracling about our past. We dive into ourselves to see what we want. And at this time of the year, it is a bit different because it is more about seeing the next step. Now it is the time to take action. So what path do I take? And you can ask for that insight into the future. Brigid is also a nurturing goddess, but not nurturing in the same sense as the mother goddess, who is the giver of life, the giver of that nutrition from her own body. Brigid is the one who allows us to receive, is the one that teaches us to receive love, receive the nutrition. And she's a goddess that hates that anyone goes hungry, especially children. And what do children eat? What do they drink? They drink milk. So one of the things that is really associated with Brigid is milk and cows. Cows are her animals and they are givers of milk, and they have saved many lives during the centuries. I mean, if you had a cow, you could feed your children, basically. So a lot of things that we can do at this time of the year are associated with cooking and with making things with milk and things that come from milk. I know that a lot of people are concerned about animals and their well-being, so it doesn't have to be cow's milk. I am sure the goddess will be pleased anyway if you do your rituals with another kind of milk. But yeah, these traditions come from a time when humans used to really love and honor animals, and they would be like part of the family. Like, yes, they were food at some point, but their lives were honored and they had a place in the home. During the winter, I don't know if you've seen old houses, at least I know in Spain houses were like that. The lower part of the house was where the animals would be and sleep and everything. And the family would be on the room on top of that. So all the heat from the animals would actually warm the whole house and the family. So their lives were all the time intertwined. They lived together. Another thing is the smell of those houses, but that's different thing. So at that time it was different, and it is not like now that animals go to horrible places. Well, they don't go, we humans take them to horrible places and do not honor their lives. So yeah, if you can buy your milk from a place where, you know, animals are treated differently and well and honored, then do it. If you still do not agree with that, don't do it. But some of the traditions have to do with milk and things that we can do with that. So one of those things is cooking pastries and sweet things and biscuits and stuff with loads of butter, which is basically Brigid's thing. It's the thing that she multiplies in her myth, so people wouldn't go hungry. So yeah, those are really good offerings for her and good rituals to do during Imbolc. And also one thing that was done was to go to sacred places to Brigid and drop milk on top of those places, like the marketplace of a well or beside the well, because the wells are sacred to Brigid, who is a goddess of healing. And also you can do that at home if you don't know any well or you don't have a spring next to your home. If you have a figure of Brigid, you can pour the milk on the statue. I mean, make sure that the thing of what the figure or the statue is made can bear that. And yeah, just be aware that the milk can spill around your altar. But yeah, that's a good offering, and it was done like that. There are a lot of stories of pouring things on top of statues. A lot of cultures do it. And we can do this to give thanks to Brigid for her returning, for the new birth of the goddess and the birth of the new spring in the new year. It's a form of gratitude, of expressing our gratitude to her. With her rod, she brings the spring, and we honor her for that and give thanks to her. She comes with her rod and goes like, spring is here, and then new plants grow and spring comes, and she awakens the land and she awakens us to a new year, to the new. So we've seen how Brigid can bring joy, and Brigid is also a bringer of inspiration. She was the goddess of the bards, and one of her animals is the swan. And the feathers of the swan were used by the bards to create these cloaks that they would use in rituals to get to that trance and journey through the worlds, to get all the inspiration from the divine and bring all the wisdom forth to the rest of the people. So yeah, Brigid is that goddess. We could actually keep talking about the animals of Brigid for another whole video because she has so many. As I was saying, she is a really big goddess of almost everything. But yeah, maybe we could talk about the wolf at this time of the year, because the wolf is the protector, the guardian of the maiden. I can really see that pack of wolves protecting the young and teaching them. The wolf is the teacher of the maiden, and then when you grow up you can become the teacher of other maidens and youth. So that is really cool. I really like that image of the wolves in the forest and searching for food and protecting the maiden and the youth. And also they are wild. As we were saying, children are wild, and they represent that longing of our souls to stay wild and stay connected to nature. So that's what the wolf brings this time of the year, with that connection to Brigid. So this is a festival of purification. That is why the 2nd of February Christians celebrate the Purification of Mary, and it's also called Candlemas. So this has those reasons. Imbolc is the festival of purification, so you might find you have the need to detox, and for this you can drink different types of teas to detox your body and really cleanse it. You can also cleanse yourself with incense, clear your body of everything that is no longer serving you, things from the past, to really go through that portal of Imbolc and leave all the old behind and start anew again. And it is the festival of the returning light. It is a festival of the candles, and we light all these candles, and one of the costumes was to take all the remains of the used candles that you've used through the year that you didn't throw away because that would be a waste. You can start practice that, to not throw away the bit of wax that remains from burning your candles. And they took all that old used wax and they would turn it into a new candle. So this is a really good symbol of how the old can be renewed and create a new thing, a new light. It's the night of the candles because it's a festival of lights, of candles, of lighting that fire in your soul, in your life. The color of Imbolc is white. So as I always say, you can create an altar for the season, and you can cover a place where you're going to set your altar with a white cloth, and this is representative of the snow. On the coldest places, everything is covered in snow, and in some warmer places, this was the coldest part of the year, and this would be the time when the snow came. And that's what happened last year here in the south of England, that Imbolc was the time when the snow came, and that was so magical. So you can decorate your altar with the color of white, with candles, as I was saying, with candles you can make or not, whatever you like. You can also decorate it with cards or images of the maiden goddess, of Brigid. As I always tell you, I love to do this. I buy cards with art that show the maiden goddess, the different goddesses around the year. You can also make your own figurines like I did with clay or whatever, or you can buy figurines that depict the maiden goddess. It doesn't have to only be Brigid. And I have some that I brought from Crete. So this is one of them, and is a bird goddess. As you can see, her face is a bit weird because that's her beak. And these are wings, but they are also her arms, and they form a crescent moon, and the crescent moon is the symbol of the maiden. I also have this one. It's like an older maiden because, you know, she has breasts, but it's still the maiden, and she's also doing the same with her arms. She's doing the posture of the crescent moon. Yeah. And you can also do this. You can hold this posture and see what it brings for you. Many people use it for invoking the goddess and drawing down the moon. And it has a lot of power to just, you know, do the... I'm not in frame. Do the crescent moon and hold that position. There are also other positions for invoking, like this one. And I have another figurines that show the goddess in this position. And this is really interesting, as it is studied in psychology that if you hold a posture for more than 2 minutes, it can change the chemistry of your body. It can change the way you feel. So these postures actually have a lot of power. So imagine all these postures that we see on figurines of the goddess and depictions are actually postures of power that can induce different states on our bodies. So that is like material for a different video as well. And I'm so interested in that, and I am researching because it's amazing. I think it's really cool. So yes, you can try holding the posture of the crescent moon and just see how you feel. And then you can leave that in the comments and tell me how you felt. That would be great. So this is it for now. I really hope you loved this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. It helps me a lot. Share the video, subscribe for more, and you know you can follow me on my social networks. It's the Forest of Goddess on Instagram and also on Facebook. And I hope you have a really good Imbolc, that you can feel the energies, the rebirth and all the new energies coming in, and really feel renewed and alive. I hope you have a really good season of Imbolc. I see you very, very soon in my next video. And yeah, ciao, ciao, ciao.